Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. Crew Travel is brought to you by Blue Marine Travel, who hasn't lost a passenger since Lee was born in 1965. 75? Well, whatever. Anyways, welcome, Lee.
I think we'll just clarify 1978. I'm old. I'm not quite that old. I've just had a hard paper round. That's all it is, honest.
And I kind of like the fact that, you haven't lost a passenger since then either, because, well, we are talking crew here.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're all still about somewhere. I mean, and hopefully where they're meant to be is always a bonus.
Well, I've heard of a few getting misplaced from time to time, but you always find them and reroute them anyway.
Indeed. They always get to where they need to be.
But I completely forgot your descriptive word, so I think we're going to say amazing. It's just general. The amazing Lee Harris.
That sounds perfect. Thank you very much.
Nice. It's my Christmas gift to you this year.
Thank you. I will accept it gladly. Thank you.
All right. So what's going on in the world of travel? Of course, we've got, less than a week coming up to Christmas. Some crew are trying to get home, and of course, we see things changing. What is the latest news today?
Yeah, so firstly, this is the last show we're going to do before Christmas, and I really wanted it to be happy, festive, and all the rest of it. And then literally at midnight, no, it wasn't going to happen, was it? It's not meant to be. Breaking news is that the Dutch government has banned air travel from the UK due to fears over a new strain of the coronavirus. The move comes after health authorities in the Netherlands confirmed at least one case of the same strain that has prompted parts of the UK to return to lockdown rules. Now, the air traffic ban for passengers from the UK begins at 6 a.m. today, the 20th December, through until the 1st of January at the latest. Obviously, this interview is taken 24 hours ahead of airing, and as such, I would not be surprised to see other countries taking the same steps that the Netherlands are doing by the time this goes to air. Obviously, any updates will be brought to you on future shows, daily posts on my LinkedIn page, and also on the Blue Marine Travel website.
Well, it's, I see straight across social media right now, people are very upset because, of course, Christmas, getting together with family. At one stage, people were going to be able to get together with, 2 families, 3 families. And now that is all shut down in such a short time before Christmas. And as well, shopping. I do believe that in England, it was announced Saturday morning that they were going into, in some parts of England anyway, they were going into full lockdown, and it was by Saturday afternoon. So that meant that all shops were going to be shut. And there were some pictures on social media of the absolute chaos ensuing because the shops were going to shut. I'm not sure that's the smartest move to make.
Yeah, probably not, to be honest. It's, as you say, people have geared themselves up. They were expecting they were going to have 5 days where they could get together with other households and all the rest of it. To then be told at, I don't know what it was, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon that everything was going to be closed down by midnight, it spreads panic, it spreads fear, and it's tough for people now, especially again in the UK. We're talking 9-10 months now through this pandemic, and they're now going to go back into a full lockdown. They've been told it's going to be until at least January the 1st. Are they going to have it under control by then? It's tough to say. So, for UK people, it's going to be really tough this Christmas, unfortunately.
Well, for those crew that are wanting to go home for Christmas or go home for the holidays, what's going on around the world? Do you have information? Let's start with the negative news and let's go to the positive news. Which countries is it possible to say fly home for 2 weeks and get back to your boat?
Well, the problem you've got is obviously negatives are going to be places like New Zealand, Australia, where you're going to have to do your quarantine period. So, if you've got 2 weeks off, it's the impossibility. It's not going to happen because you would literally spend 2 weeks staring at the walls of a hotel, and then you'd come out and have to go straight back to work, and you get to pay the privilege of staring at a wall as well. So, again, like you say, New Zealand, Australia, they're the 2 that really spring to mind.
And you would have to pay, what, 3,000 Australian dollars, correct?
Yeah, 3,000 Australian dollars, yeah. Or I think it's around about 2,500 New Zealand dollars as well. We have heard stories of some crew in New Zealand that have managed to get the exemption from paying for it. Not all by any means, but there has been a few that trickle through to me to say that they did manage to successfully get the exemption from paying, which is good news for those. But but yeah, so it's, you know, it's going to be tough for a lot of crew to get home at this time if they've only got a short period to travel in, that's for sure.
How is that working with England then? Is people still allowed to go back to? I know they did have that 2-week quarantine regardless, and I'm not sure seafarers were exempt from that.
Yeah, so the UK, people are fine to travel back to the country. They are exempt as long as they can show a discharge book, or they've got their Yachtcrew papers or a crewing list. Then they're more than welcome to travel back into the UK, and they don't have to do the quarantine period either.
And another one that comes up quite often, South Africa. What's happening over there?
Yeah, South Africa again. They've got a good handle on it as well. So obviously, they've been one of our favourites to talk about on this show. But at this moment in time, it's open for tourism. So it's not just South Africans that can travel back into the country. Other people can go there if they've got time for a holiday, you know, and they can fit it in. Then they're more than welcome to do it. All they'll have to do is make sure they've got a negative PCR test, which is dated no less than 72 hours at time of departure. They'd also have to install a government contact tracing app and show proof of a confirmed accommodation booking. On arrival, everyone will undergo health screening. The only issue is if you are traveling to South Africa and if you do test positive when you get there, then you will have to go into government facility quarantine and at your own expense.
Again, at your own expense. That's
yeah.
That seems to be a sweeping thing at the moment. Is there any news out of the Philippines? We have a lot of crew that come out of the Philippines, and I don't think we've touched much on that.
Yeah, so the Philippines, at the moment they're open for travel, not for tourism reasons. You know, people non-Filipinos or people with the relevant visas, etc., or citizenship can go there. But it's actually open, and there are flights operating to and from the Philippines. So any crew that needs to get home can do. And also any crew that need to get back to work, again, we are booking flights to and from with minimal issues, I must say.
Wow. So is there any other great news, any great crew questions that you have out there this week?
No, we just had a couple of questions with regards to travel within Europe at the moment, literally just tagging on to the whole holiday theme. Certain people wanting to get away for a couple of weeks over the Christmas period. The places that we were asked specifically about were Greece and for Portugal. Now, we'll start with Greece. It seems to be the best one to start with to begin with. So they are open for tourists. You will be required to take a coronavirus test upon arrival. If the test comes back positive, then the individual will need to quarantine for 14 days. Just to let people know as well, certain tourist sites are open, i.e. the Acropolis of Athens has reopened, and restaurants, beaches, etc. are also open, but do have strict guidelines with regards to COVID. Another one, like we said, is Portugal as well. Again, passengers will need to present a negative COVID test issued 72 hours before departure. If they don't have that, then individuals could be refused boarding on their flight if they do not have it. Again, also with regards to tourism, shops, zoos, museums and monuments, including the Museum of the Orient, are all open to visitors at this time.
So there is some good news. One thing actually I didn't ask you, and right now is, you know, 'tis the season in the Caribbean and the US. What's going on there at the moment?
Yeah, so the Caribbean, that's, again, there's certain countries that people are free to travel to and from, some that you can't. We'll touch on the ones that you can. So the Dominican Republic is open for tourism. Again, no mandatory quarantine. So if there are any crew out going to do the Caribbean yacht season and they want an island hop over Christmas, then the Dominican Republic could be a good one to go to, as there isn't a mandatory quarantine. All travellers, again, which basically seems to be all across the board now, will have to present a negative coronavirus test. They'll also have to undergo health checks, including temperature scans. But tours, hotels, resorts, etc., they're all operating at 100% capacity.
Wow. 100% capacity. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it seems to be working for them, I've got to say. You know, it's not, somehow they've managed to get hold of it, and with everything at 100% capacity as well. So it's good news for them.
For sure. And the US?
The US, again, still, the US is just an anomaly, isn't it? Every state, the 50 states, they've all set their own separate rules. So it's impossible for me to give an overview of the United States as such. All I would say is make sure that if you are traveling, even if it's just domestically within the US, or if you're going internationally, check each individual state that you're going to go to, because there are different rules with regards to quarantine, with regards to COVID tests, with regards to what's open and what's not open. And obviously also don't forget people coming from the red zone, i.e. Europe, Iran, China, Brazil. They can't actually go into the US at this moment in time for tourist reasons.
Okay. Now, one thing that I did see was Thailand. There are a few places that are really starting to open up for yachting specifically. And Thailand is one of those. Are they loosening up their restrictions? How's it going over in Thailand?
It's a good one. They've announced this week that they're opening up to, I think it's around about 50 countries. The thing that they fail to tell people is that people still have to do the 2-week quarantine. So although it is open for tourism and for people to go into, unless you're going to be there for any length of time, your 2 weeks are going to be spent, again, looking at a hotel room.
So they don't say that. Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. You have to make sure you read it carefully because, unfortunately, people do still have to do the 14-day quarantine on arrival.
See, and that's something that we've been saying over and over again since we actually started doing this series, is that it is so important to go through a travel agency of some sort, just for the simple fact that you just don't know. I mean, we see ghost flights. We see countries that are opening up borders that aren't necessarily opening up borders. We see the fact that in certain countries you've got to pay for your quarantine, different paperwork that needs to be done that airlines will not tell you about online. You rock up for your flight and you haven't done the proper paperwork, so your flight gets canceled. It's just a minefield that you're walking through. And the only way that you're going to be able to properly maneuver this minefield to get anywhere or do anything properly is with dealing with an agent, I would assume.
It is at the moment. It is tough times, especially now that we're seeing as well how quickly things can change. Like we said earlier with the UK, the Netherlands have now put this flight ban on flights coming from the UK into the country. Again, I would imagine probably within the next 24, 48 hours, we're going to see other European countries do the same. And that's just one small part of travel. You've got so many other countries and so many other regulations that are being put in place. It's just impossible for anybody to know 100% what's going on. I'm not going to lie, we don't know 100% of everything. The good thing is, we're a tight-knit group at Blue Marine Travel, and I'm sure it's the same for a lot of other travel agents. We've got people dotted around the world who feed the information to everybody. So we have got a handle on a lot of it. And if we don't know, we do have the resources to find out for people. So again, I probably say this every week, but I just hope that it sinks in for people not to try and book stuff online by themselves, because it's so easy to come unstuck at this time.
Well, and to be absolutely honest, your bread and butter is making sure that you get a crew member from their original destination to the actual destination where they want to go. And if you don't do that, then that's damaging to your reputation. So your main goal is getting that crew from point A to point B and back again if needs be. And you will go above and beyond. That's your one job, to go above and beyond to make sure that it happens.
That's exactly right. That is exactly, it's what we do, every day. And like you say, I mean, it is tough. We always find the information for people and we'll pass it on, as quickly as we possibly can and keep everybody in the loop. And that's all we can do, and that's all anybody can do at this time. It is tough. But yeah, we'll crack on, get the job done, and still keep people moving.
Wonderful. Well, Lee, I thank you ever so much for your time, and I wish you the very best of the season. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all of that stuff.
I'll take them all. Yes. Season's greetings to you as well, Ria.
Well, thank you for putting it in such a small little package for me, because, I'm just bumbling my way on through there.
I thought you did a great job. I mean, you were all inclusive, which is great.
It's the name of the game, all inclusive. Right. Well, we will see you again next week. We are not stopping, just to let you know, we are not stopping the crew travel updates throughout the entire season at all. And the reason being is because, of course, we have to be here for you. And crew isn't stopping, so we can't stop. So don't you worry, we're going to be back again next week.
Unfortunately, people can't get rid of me that easily, including you, Ria. You're stuck with me, I'm afraid.
Once again, you've been watching another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I have been your host. Please tune in again next week.